So let's take a look at this fight from a technical standpoint. I know someone that really likes to delve into the detail of a bit of fight footage. What better way to start, I guess, than the first fight between these two, Dan?
Yeah, we've got to take a look at this before we even discuss the next fight coming up. A lot of people thought Mousasi dominated the first round, and he did positionally. If we take a look at it now, as you can see, he steps in with the inside low kick, catches the foot, and then elevates that, sweeping it to his left, so he's able to step in with his right arm and really elevate Uriah Hall off the canvas and get the takedown. A nice little scramble, and he finishes in top position, landing some ground and pound. And from this point onwards, it was a progression of position. It was he passed to half guard, he passed to mount, he landed some shots. Uriah Hall did a good job of defending and making it difficult for Mousasi to settle in any position. Now this was quite interesting. As Mousasi's passing here, Uriah Hall locks up a Kimura grip, forcing Mousasi to pass around the head. And as you can see here, Mousasi's going to lose his balance and Hall's going to bump him over into an armbar attempt. Now Mousasi, being the veteran that he is, he stacks him, he puts weight on him, he passes, and then the same thing again. He uses good hip pressure to smash his legs to the side, finally gets to mount, and then starts to land some ground and pound. And as you would expect from Uriah Hall here, he's either got the option to escape or to turn his back. He gives his back, and Mousasi makes the most of that, gets his hook sunk in, and then as Uriah Hall tries to scramble, turns Mousasi to his back, you see Mousasi punch his arm through. Watch with the left arm there, punches through and really does a good job of locking that in. And credit to Uriah Hall for escaping this. He attacks the top hand, peels that off, and then you'll see as soon as that hand's out of danger, he'll switch to the choking arm, and that survived the first round. And really a credit to Uriah Hall. He didn't take a great deal of damage in that first round, and he came out in the second round already knowing what Mousasi's game plan was. So he's backed up against the fence. Mousasi throws another inside low kick, and Uriah Hall throws the back kick that catches Mousasi in the face as he level changes. The follow-up knee sends Mousasi to the canvas, and then a short burst of ground and pound got the fight finished. Now, as you can see, the kicks thrown here, it would be aimed at the midsection of Mousasi, and it was just unfortunate that Mousasi's timing allowed Uriah Hall to catch him in the face there. My assumption is that Mousasi was expecting something slightly different when he saw the shoulders turn of Uriah Hall, which we'll discuss in a second. But you know, it was partly due to Uriah Hall adapting his game plan for Mousasi, knowing what to expect, and it was also, you know, some fortuitous timing for the level change.
We've heard a lot from Mousasi in the last few months, probably more than what we've heard from him over some years. And he's led us to believe that this was a fluke kick. That was what was therefore victorious for Hall. But if we look at every single minute of this fight, there's a different story, I think.
Well, yes, there is, and it shows the adaptability of Uriah Hall. Reading the first round, so Mousasi does the same thing here, pretty much to the second. He crowds Uriah Hall up against the fence, he throws the inside low kick about 8 seconds in, and then he steps in and he looks to level change, but obviously Hall throws that teep and he gets the leg caught. Now the second round starts, Mousasi does the same thing. He gets stung with a jab early on, but he backs Hall up, he throws the inside low kick. Now as soon as he sees Uriah Hall's shoulders turn, you can guarantee there was a flashback to the Ultimate Fighter knockout against Adam Seller. The hook kick caught him right in the face, and it was a highlight reel knockout. We've seen it over and over again. Dana said it was the best knockout that we've ever seen on the Ultimate Fighter, and I have to agree. So as he saw Uriah Hall's shoulders turn, I'm sure he was expecting the kick to whistle over his head, and he was going to level change and smash him into the fence. So as he level changed, the kick that would have normally hit him in the solar plexus in the midsection and stopped that forward progression actually caught him right in the temple and knocked him off balance. Yeah, well, Mousasi's saying it's a fluke, Brad. You guys train, you throw things, and anything you throw inside that octagon, you're doing it for a purpose. Is there such thing as a fluke inside the octagon?
I'd say no, but there are, obviously, like you say, there are circumstances that don't always go your way. But when you're throwing a punch or a kick, that you always with intent to it to land. But like you say, he didn't know that Mousasi was going to change his level at that point.
Or didn't he?
Or didn't he? Exactly. Yeah, but it's one of those. Sometimes it is fortune. You do create your own fortune within this sport.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you would say that won't happen twice. You know, like lightning, you get struck once. You know, you may not get struck twice, but it has happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dan, let's move beyond just this first fight. Mousasi has an incredible body of work, and I'm sure you've picked out some stuff that he's going to be applying in this fight against Hall.
Yes, yeah. Well, for a young fighter, and we always forget that he's young, given the fact that he's got so much experience.
He's like 31, I think?
Yeah, and almost 50 fights. Wow. You know, he's got so much experience. Even stepping in against Vitor Belfort, he had more experience than Vitor Belfort, you know, the veteran of the game. And this was a fight that he'd really been waiting. You know, this fight had evaded him twice, and he knew he wanted to get this fight before he could really crack that top 5. And it was a dominant performance. He did exactly what we would expect Mousasi to do. He pressured Vitor Belfort, he pushed him up against the fence, got the takedown and beat him up on the floor. And here with Mark Munoz, it really showed his ability to recover from a bad position. He was caught in a body lock, he was being taken down, he was able to reverse it and take the mount position. And similar to the end of the Uriah Hall fight, the first one, he got the mount position, he took the back and finished with a rear naked choke, as he was due to in the first round. And at UFC 200 against Santos, this was a really dominant performance again. A beautiful body lock takedown off the fence here, nullified the reach of Santos. Landed a couple of good shots on the floor, but then white belt mistake from Santos getting up the way he did. Ate an uppercut and Mousasi just jumped on it, saw the opportunity. And again, the opportunistic striker, the guy that spars, you know, 3 hours a day because he's got a good team of guys around him that he trusts. You see these opportunities that he would spot in sparring, he sees them in the fights, and he's able to make the most of them when they're there.
Yeah, Brad, Mousasi's got such a legacy in the sport. We were talking earlier about some of the fights that he's been involved in. How much do you think that experience will play a factor in his fights?
Well, the thing that blows my mind is like the amount of experience he's had and the age he is now. He's had 50 fights nearly, 40 wins, and his first fight was back in 2003. And he's fought the who's who. So he not only has this wealth of experience of a veteran fighter, but he also, in my eyes, he's at the perfect age to take a right push and take the belt, because he's 31. And in your athletic career, I always felt early 30s for me was my best, where I felt my prime, you know, and you start to understand your body a bit more and how to train. And he has all that experience now. I can really see him now, especially now he's learned how to talk a bit more as well, you know. I think he's definitely going to be champion next year.
Oh, right.
I honestly
That's
think,
interesting.
you know,
I said the same thing. I think champion and #1 contender by the end of next year. And I think the Vitor Belfort fight was a ceiling that he had to reach, that he had to get through, especially because the fight was in front of him twice and it didn't come about. You know, when he was fighting in other organizations, he would always look to the UFC and say, what would it be like if I fought this guy? It's kind of like the Marvel DC superheroes fighting superheroes. What would it be like if I fought Vitor Belfort? What would it be like if I fought Anderson Silva, is the other fighter he keeps mentioning? Now he's got that win over Vitor and it was impressive. It went down exactly the way he was supposed to. Now he feels like he can approach the top 5 and really make a claim at that belt.
Yeah, so let's talk about Hall then. He's a very unique athlete. He comes out with some crazy stuff, super unpredictable.
Yeah, well, Hall's one of those fighters that has the X factor. He has the ability to, like I said before, adapt in the middle of a fight, to catch people with things that they're not expecting. And the athletic ability, the speed and the reaction time to catch people unawares. This is beautiful here, as he fought Chris Lieben, made him miss over and over again, then saw that opportunity just to do a slight step to the side and the counter right on the inside of the jab. Really nice. Against Thiago Santos again, backed him up against the fence, kept pressure on him, and kept using those jumping kicks here. We saw the jumping back kick that he used against Mousasi. As you saw against Santos, it caught him in the midsection, didn't have the same effect. But the other kicks that he was using, it picked Santos off from a distance. He was unable to cover the range that he needed to get anything effective working. And I think, personally, this is the best punch that he's ever thrown against Ron Stallings. As he slips to the outside of the straight left, comes back with the right-hand counter. Really, really nice technique. And what it also does is, as he slips to the side, it loads that right leg. It puts power in that back leg so he can then fire that power in a relatively short-range punch. Which was the fight-ending punch. I mean, the doctor stopped it due to cuts, but all the damage was done from that one punch.
Yeah, he really came onto the scene, Nick, with some momentum. People saying that he could potentially be the next Anderson Silva, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, tough 17. I think Dana White actually come out and used that term as well. And throughout that season, you know, we were being fed out of the show saying this new guy that's in the tough house is a killer. No one wants to roll with him. Certainly no one wants to draw him in the competition. He blasts everyone away all the way to the final, looks sensational, and then in the final gets beat by Kelvin Gastelum and doesn't really turn up on the night. And for me, that sums up Uriah Hall. Now, the guy's a complete enigma. On his night, and if you give him the space to perform and let his big shots go, he looks incredible. He looks like probably the most talented middleweight in the sport. But when he's not on his night, when he doesn't turn up, he looks very ordinary, and fights run away from him. And that's the thing with Uriah Hall, you just don't know which Uriah Hall is going to turn up on the night.
And that's the thing with that X factor as well. When you're fighting a guy like Uriah Hall, who's had all the things that Dana White said about him and how dangerous he is, there's a certain game plan that people are kind of railroaded into taking, and Mousasi, I'm sure, will be feeling the same thing. Do you want to give him that space so you could potentially get caught by that kick? Of course you don't. You want to crowd him, you want to push him up against the fence, and you want to take him down, which is why this counter-striking of Uriah Hall comes into play, because he's often under pressure in his fights. It's very rare that someone backs up and gives him the space to work, so he has to look for these opportunities in the fight.